Hello, my name is Niamh, and I thought that today it would be nice if you and me sat down by the fire, which is about to explode behind me because it's far too windy outside, and read some poetry together, because I know it's been a really hard almost year for everyone, and it's nice to look back at where we've come from and how we've grown along the way. And that's what some of the poems I'm going to be reading are going to talk about. The poems are from my collection Glow. I think it should be out by the time this is out, but possibly link in the description. I don't know how much I'm allowed promo on this YouTube channel, but on all my social medias. So the first poem I'm going to read is called Queer Aches, and it deals with themes of homophobia. So if that's not something you want on a nice Friday morning, whenever this comes out, feel free to skip this one. The group of boys outside your friend's house call you queer on New Year's Eve. You are 19 years old and you think, I must be exceptionally well dressed. Life goes on. But that night you close your eyes and suddenly you are 14 and there is a grace you cannot name. And a part of you knows that this is something holy, no matter what they say. But all the other parts are defiled. You want everything you shouldn't. When you spit it out at your father in the front seat, he tells you no. And the horizon bleeds into the dashboard, and the dashboard bleeds into your hands until all the lights are flashing under your skin. It starts raining that night, and it never really stops. Later, when you hear your parents talking in hushed voices through the wall, you screw up your eyes and think, an unspeakable of the Oscar Wilde sort, a lover of violets, a priestess of Sappho. History settles aching in your chest, the legacy you did not ask for. And you want everything you shouldn't. So that one is about, got a feeling a lot of the people watching this are going to be queer. You know what I'm talking about. The next poem I'm going to read is one called Dara and Jamie, and was actually written based off a show that went up in Players in 2020, directed by M. Ormond, shout out, and me and Sammy were in it, and I really resonated with the characters, so I wrote a little poem about them. And this is called Dara and Jamie. Hope is the thing with feathers, and fear is the thing that plucks. I am a very stupid little lover, and you are something enormous, and I want you until it hurts. There is something so bottomless in me, and you fill it with sulfur. I give you as much as I can, and it is never enough, and I am sorry, so sorry. Anything I buy, I will only ever get half of. You know that I will always share. And you ask me how many ways there are to kill the human body, and you practice all of them on me. It is something that can feel so good. It is something that can be so lovely. And I know in that moment when you stand over me that I would follow you into the ground. But the sun comes up and I see a future I cannot live in. The ambulances huddled in the bay like fat yellow birds, the headline on the 9 a.m. news, my rib cage heaving like the flank of an animal, cornered and raw. And I catch your hand before it hits my shoulder this time. That one is all down to M. Ormond's fabulous characters, so full credit to M. Now, if I can find my bookmarks, the next poem I'm going to read is one called For Belle, which is about being very gay for women because they're just wonderful. My girl is crimson roses, every motion a Michelangelo 100 miles from me, all aflame and glowing. I follow her like trail lights, both the deer and the headlight all mixed up with love, and as far from me as she is, I know that I would find her at the Tower of Babel, where every name is her name, where every hand clutching bricks is her hand, where I would be reminded that I was born to love women and put on this earth to adore. With this, I prayed an altar I have never seen, knowing the days will go and I will be there. Dog at the door, slave to the lightest of things, my love and the flowers and me. Now, that one is very queer because, that's the whole book. The whole book's pretty queer. That one might be the queerest one in there. Now, the next one I'm going to read is called Heaven Sent, and I am going to content warn religious trauma for everyone who grew up Catholic, and for Hosier, this one's for you. I grow out of God like childhood asthma. As soon as my scratching fingers can dog-ear the page, I turn my face to the stained glass sun, and I know that you are what you worship, that faith holds a mirror to the earth, and that if where I am is where I am meant to be, then God surely smells like a diesel bomb. I think of sweet but unspeakable things in the sermon, and in my reflection in the pulpit, I see my teeth turn inwards with pleasure. Our Father talks about a place I'll never reach. I know that I, spitting, whorish, am no pet of it, and that is something I am coming to terms with, and it tastes like salt under my tongue. He says, better blind faith than none at all, and I say, there is nothing that I want from you. There is nothing in your hands. Again, Hosier, religious drama. People can relate. I know you're right there. I really hope this fire doesn't explode. Wouldn't that be really exciting in the middle of this video? Sorry, getting off topic. The next poem I'm going to read is one called Wolf, and I am just going to content warn that it talks about blood and decay and nasty stuff, if that's something that you don't like. When I think of you, your nose is bleeding into your cupped hands, and you are so in love. Your fingers are tacky with it, sticky and slick, and your teeth are pink. It's in the crack of your incisor. Looking at you makes me feel sick, and I am so in love. When you think of me, I hope it is with open veins. Your hands to the wound, pressing to feel and not to heal and not to stop the bleeding. My body racked with fever. This hooked thing in me does not know how to love unless it is hurt or hungry. When I think of us, I think about bleeding out in wheat fields and cornfields and anywhere insects can smell rotting. I miss you like anything. Let's see, I'm gonna just a few more. I won't keep you for too much longer, don't worry. I'm gonna blame Jeff Bezos for the fact that I don't have a copy with page numbers yet. I hopefully will by the time this comes out. The next poem I'm gonna read is called Eclipse. We are going to play a game. You are the moon and I am the sea. We pull and tug at each other, unable to turn away. You're enchantingly unreachable, and I am rushing up to greet you anyway. I ache with your memory, salty bones buckling under your silver gaze, as you shine, and I say there is little difference between cold and afraid. We plan to set cities on fire. Instead, I overwater the whole world until it is choking and blue, and you gnaw and shatter, burning all on your own. It's a cheerful one. They're all cheerful. We have fun here. All right, the last poem that I'm going to read is the titular poem of the book. I hope I pronounced that right. And it is called Glow, and I'm going to content warn this one for themes of self-harm and depression, so please take that with guidance. There is so much I would like to tell her. I wrench everything I am out of the roots and show her that it goes deeper than what she can cut out of her skin, and we replant it together, hands brushing in the soil. We don't speak. She is folding inwards to take up as little space as possible, and I let her hold the silence. I let her hold what she needs. She's bleeding into the earth, and she moves like she is in pain. I feel her fingers pulling at the edge of a gash, and 6 years later my pelvis begins to sting. She says that I am someone that she can't recognize, and I promise her that the reverse is not true. That I am coming back to her, and that she is not alone. I tell her, things will be better when the garden settles. She is so sick of that line that she winces, and I try not to be offended. I know she's heard it so many times before, just like I know that she will not remember this month of her life. That I will be kind enough to let her. I just open my hands, and I show her what we have planted. The seed glowing through the soil, everything they could not take from us. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a good day, and I'm really glad that fire didn't blow up in the middle of it. I'm sure you're thrilled about it too.